energy level is somewhat compromised, I will be somewhat brief today. I just want to start off with some housekeeping. Madam Speaker, I note that there were quite a number of students here, summer students, who were employed. I didn't know that the program had started. This is independence. We're one nation. I would have thought you'd give Kalani at least 2 or 3, but Kalani got nothing. I'm certain that that was an oversight, and that would be corrected. And Madam Speaker, we've been doing quite a number of work within Kalani constituency. We've commenced the park in the Kalani Shores area, and the minister had spoken about the patching program. We have our own patching program within the Kalani constituency, where we would ask individuals to do a GPS marking, send forth the marking to us, and we have individuals hired who would patch as much as possible so as to alleviate and assist the problems that we face. But I want to remind the nation and this parliament that on the 7th of August, Gambia is having Gambia Day, and as usual, it's an all-day event. And that event is usually closed by the Saxons Junction Group. That usually perform at about 11 o'clock. And yes, Madam Speaker, everybody knows that I'm a bell. I would be there, but I would take a different role this time. This time I would be the lead dancer. So you are all invited. I and my grandson will be the lead dancers for the Saxons Junction Group closing the 7th of August. Coming down to Gambia. And I want to remind, since our event is coming, the 7th of August, I want to remind the Minister of Environment and Roads and Park that the Gambia Park would need cleaning and the voyages would need cleaning also. And we hope that you can do that for us before the 7th as the bushes are becoming uncontrollable. Madam Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the people of Kalani constituency at a joyous time in our nation's history. On Monday, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of independence. And in 1973, we became a sovereign, independent nation state. But I remind us that the Bahamas is much older than 50 years. Indeed, our parliament was established in 1729, though it was not fully represented at that time until 1967. This is when we attained majority rule, an occasion which is today celebrated by all Bahamians. 1973 was not our birth as a nation. We were a nation long before 1973. 1973 was the launch of the Bahamas as an independent state. It is essential, Madam Speaker, for the sake of history and the education of our people to understand the difference. And the dictionary defines a nation as a large body of people united by common descent, history, culture, or language, inhabiting a particular country or territory. Also, according to the dictionary, a nation state is defined as a sovereign state of which most of the citizens or subjects are united also by factors which define a nation, such as language or common descent. 1973, Madam Speaker, was the achievement of sovereignty, another milestone in our journey as a people on these blessed islands. I want to congratulate all Bahamians, here and abroad, for this remarkable milestone. And I also want to congratulate the member for Seabreeze, who had worked very hard putting the programs together. And she was available to all who wanted her day and night, almost 24/7. So I want to personally congratulate her for the excellent job. The hard work, sacrifice, sweat, and toil of our people transformed these islands these past 5 decades into a free and fair democracy with the most dynamic tourism economy in the region. Madam Speaker, Bahamians should be proud of what we've accomplished together. There is more access to education and health care. More focus was placed on Family Island development. The economy has greatly expanded, providing opportunities to many who were denied it for so long. Free speech and fair elections are part of our culture. A free press thrives. And while we celebrate all we have done, let us also look towards the work we have to do over the next 50 years. We must improve the quality of education we provide. This also includes, Madam Speaker, universal preschool education, which was advanced under the previous F&M administration. Madam Speaker, this is important because we were informed that 60% of our students entering grade 1 are ill-prepared, are not prepared for grade 1. What that means is that that group of ill-prepared students advances to grade 2 ill-prepared, advances to grade 8 ill-prepared, grade 9 ill-prepared, and hence our graduation rate we see today. And that's why it calls for long-term planning, not a microwave solution, Madam Speaker. The revolution in various technology continues, and we must embrace this revolution at the University of the Bahamas and BTVI. And I'll expand on that at some other date, but I'm certain the Minister of Education is well versed with what I'm talking about, as she is usually on top of, as the young people would say, she's on top of her game. Major investments are needed to keep improving health care, housing, and Social Security. We must continue working to find new industries to diversify our economy. Quality youth intervention programs are needed to help young people choose productive lives rather than ones of crime and violence. The state needs to transfer more the land it holds to ordinary Bahamians in a fair and transparent manner. Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people have a resilient spirit. We are doers. I have confidence in the next generation to meet these challenges, just as the majority rule and independence generations tackled what was before them. Those generations built an independent Bahamas that is much better for our people. Our next generation should set making the Bahamas a developed country over the next 50 years. We must, Madam Speaker, keep setting lofty goals. We must keep fighting, not among ourselves, but we must keep fighting to make the lives of all Bahamians better. This includes major interventions to reduce crime, reduce violence, and social decay. Madam Speaker, we are here to debate the Notary's Public Amendment Bill 2023. The bill seeks to amend the Notary's Public Act to establish the duration and validity of licenses issued in accordance with the Act. It also seeks to provide for a grace period of 1 month between the expiry of a license and the time to renew. The third clause of the bill also seeks to insert new sections 6A, 6B, 6C, which provide for the renewal date for applications made before or after the date of expiry of a license. It seeks to exempt certain licensees from the payment of renewal fees. It seeks to waive arrears of unpaid fees for the exempt licensees and provide for the pausing and resumption of offering notarial services. The bill's fourth clause seeks to provide for the limited extension of the exemption and waiver of fees to licensees who would have qualified for the exemption or waiver of renewal fees prior to the commencement of the Act. I support the bill, Madam Speaker, and hope these changes will help improve the functions of notaries public and the services they provide in the country. Madam Speaker, it was so great, in fact good, to see the Prime Minister of the Bahamas in the country for the independence celebration. He is on tour around the world so often, many wondered how long he would be here for independence. It seems, though, he is not the only Prime Minister in the PLP. Apparently, there's a Prime Minister in Abaco. In Central Abaco, I presume you are the Deputy Prime Minister. And, Madam Speaker, and the Prime Minister said, that is the Prime Minister of Abaco, we better get used to it. Central Abaco, I say to you, get used to it. The new sheriff in town. The arrogance of this statement by the North Abaco MP stunned many Bahamians. There seems to be little prime ministers all over the PLP. Central Abaco, you need a promotion. You can be Prime Minister of the South, and he Prime Minister of the North. Anyone can do and say as they please under the leadership of the member for Cat Island. The member for Carmichael the other day, in his capacity as immigration minister, was operating a, listen carefully, was operating a, and I quote, citizen delivery service of sorts by going to a funeral to personally convey citizenship.
Delivery service?
This irregular behavior shocked the world. Madam Speaker,
The world?
my niece came down for the independence, shocked the entire country. My niece came down and she said she wanted to see, she escorted me to the ball. She wanted to see the Minister of Immigration because she has a friend over there. She wondered if he'd catch Bahamas and deliver it there. I told her that the real prime minister, not Abacos, the real prime minister said that won't happen again. So she was so saddened to know that that couldn't be delivered. Madam Speaker, this irregular behavior shocked the country. So what's next? While he delivers citizenships, will he deliver citizenships at birthday parties, proms, Christmas parties? Madam Speaker, I guess you can do whatever you like under this prime minister. Not getting sweeter. My strength coming back now. That's fine. That's fine. You could go anywhere. I tell you one thing, the Bahamian people ain't buying your ticket. Madam Speaker, I guess we can do whatever we like under this prime minister. We saw this too when there was a public back and forth between the Minister of Works and the Prime Minister over who was to blame for not carrying out the BPL hedge strategy we left in place. But sadly, the collective failure of the minister and his boss led to serious consequences for Bahamians. Electricity bills have skyrocketed. I am frightened, Madam Speaker, as I listen to individuals who said that their bills have moved from $200 to $700. I am frightened to see my bill. I am frightened. You know, you know, the other day my generator was on. I said, oh, Jesus, I wonder if my bill was paid. I was somewhat frightened. Bahamians should remember that PLP is at fault for this when they have to pay these high astronomical bills. The PLP was at fault. We're now hearing that they are load shedding during what is already a very, very hot summer. Madam Speaker, I am so miserable standing here with this heat. God knows I want to take off this coat, but, you know, protocol and proper won't allow it. And therefore, I am forced to stay here and burn. We are now hearing that there may be load shedding during what is already a very, very hot summer. And Madam Speaker, we had gotten a notice in the Tropical Garden, Kalani constituency, Tropical Garden area, that I must give BPL credit for that. They sent us a notice saying that there will be load shedding for about 3 hours. So they gave us warning so that we must prepare ourselves for the heat of the day. Madam Speaker, my government made enormous progress in fixing what has been historic problems. Former Minister of Works, Desmond Bannister, has already told the public how this government has failed to keep various equipment maintained in a timely manner. Now, Madam Speaker, let me help the Minister of Works here, because some of his people are not giving him the right answers. You know, I've been through that. And that's how I found out. I've been through that. But I had a good man there, Whitney Hasty. He was a very good man. When we came, Madam Speaker, when we came in office, we visited the power plant in Prospect. Not Prospect, you know, out Clifton. And that's my constituency too. We visited the power plant at Clifton. And Madam Speaker, it was atrocious. It was shocking to walk in the engine rooms. The oil on the floor was about 2 inches thick. And they literally assigned boots to you to walk around. But they were comfortable working in that. 2 inches thick of oil on the floor. If you went there, you would know. It was a disgrace to say that Bahamians, engineers who are pride of their country, their equipments, their facilities, working in such condition, poor condition. And Madam Speaker, Whitney Hastings and his team embarked on cleaning and getting the engines in place. And I can say that when he had completed, when we left, if you had dropped your food on the floor, you felt comfortable picking it up and eating. That's how clean it was. That's how we left it. I would urge the press to take a tour of the facilities today. I don't know whether they've regressed back to the standard that we met it, but I think the press should take a tour of the facility to see whether they have maintained such standard or deteriorated. Madam Speaker, we were faced with load shedding, and we had introduced about 160 megawatts of new generation capacity that was secured, which meant that we improved the generation capacity to 325 megawatts. The Bahamas, New Providence, needs on its maximum day about 260. So we had spare to ensure that load shedding was a thing of the past. We had purchased 7 Wärtsilä engines, which would have produced 132 megawatts. And then we had a GE engine, which would have produced about 30 megawatts for 162 megawatts. So, Madam Speaker, presently, there's 7 engines. They're not giving the minister the facts, but I can give him those facts. Still trying to get over this flu, but I'm not infectious, gentlemen. I'm not infectious. So y'all safe. Y'all safe. Madam Speaker, out of those 7 generators that are producing the 132, 2 are no longer functional. And you know why? Because the new team, you see, governments are supposed to be continuous. They moved who were there and brought in others. The maintenance program was not maintained, and therefore the engines subsequently break down. Now, Madam Speaker, because there were contractual agreement with the manufacturers of the engine, there would have never been a problem in accessing parts if they were needed. But today, there will be problems with parts. So, Madam Speaker, all I say, prepare for the heat. It's coming. The minister said it's coming. In addition, Madam Speaker, so your cost has gone up because of the hedge. Now they place us in decrease the quality of our livelihood with the heat. You have to run outside. Individuals, you pass through Baintown sometime, Madam Speaker. Individuals are on the porch fanning. You know, in the old days, and you would know, in the old days we could sleep under the window and we take the stick and open the window. Now we've advanced and talked about central air, and now they don't want to give us no electricity, so those central air are useless. You have to go look for your paper fan again. So, Madam Speaker, so your cost has gone up because of the hedging that they, and I don't know whether this word is parliamentary, and I could change it if need be, what they messed up. Then, because of our engines being down, what they had to do, Madam Speaker? They had to lease additional engines. That carries a cost. And who's going to bear that cost? Us. That's additional cost. So they are presently leasing, I think, about 115 megawatts of engine, of rented, of energy supply, and about 73 being leased from Sun Oil. So, Madam Speaker, when the F&M was in, when we were in, we had the operation and maintenance cost. Listen carefully so you can see where they've increased our cost again. That's why it's good. Governments should be continuous and not selective, but continuous, and we wouldn't run into so many problems. The operation and maintenance cost of BPL, when the F&M was in power, is 1/3 the cost today. So that's additional cost to us. And that's why I scared to see my light bill. I scared, you know, especially when I was sick, Madam Speaker. You know, the problem is, as a doctor, you're knowledgeable. And when you're sick, with the flu, you have fever, the heart rate goes up, you sweat. And if you see that bill, your heart rate goes up further, and you die, shock, heart attack. So that's the quickest way to heart attack. So I told my family, do not, listen, just withdraw the money, pay the bill, but don't let me see it until I get well, please. But Madam Speaker, these are serious times. Madam Speaker, further evidence of the do or say nothing culture in the Davis administration was at display too. When the Minister of Education, look up, voiced her objection to the Royal Caribbean Paradise Island deal her government supports. She said what she said, and there was no consequences. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm going to be fair and honest today. I like the minister. I like very much, very much. Now, you know, the public don't know, but you know, your husband passed away, but your husband and I were cousins, you know that. So we family. But Madam Speaker, the member is a nationalist. She is a nationalist. And she seriously believes in Bahamians first. You cannot knock her for that. And I respect her for that. And the position she took, she had no choice. I respect her for that. So, member, continue along that road. No, you know but. You know but. If I was in your constituency, you'd get my vote. Madam Speaker, the speaking out against and defiance of the Prime Minister by PLPs will only get worse over the course of his term. Weakness in leaders causes subordinates to challenge the leader. It is amazing that many in his government are getting away with calling them the Davis-Cooper administration. Or we should call it,
David Cooper Cornish.
What's his name? Only minutes? What? Madam Speaker, because of my illness and slow movement, I ask for an additional 3 minutes.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Madam Speaker, there was a remarkable spirit. There was a remarkable spirit of togetherness at Clifford Park at the Independence celebration. It is my hope that we keep this spirit throughout this Independence year and beyond. Only the spirit now, not the spending. Only the spirit, not the spending. And we will be asking soon for the expenditure for the independence events. And we still await the expenditure for the trip to London, to UK, to visit the King. We are blessed to live on these islands, surrounded by such spectacular natural beauty. Let us be good stewards of the gift that God has given us. Let us be good stewards, Madam Speaker, of the resources of the state. And let us be good stewards of our future. And as I have said in the past, may I invoke the God of new beginnings as we continue our national journey. May God bless all of us, Madam Speaker. 1 minute. And may God continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Boy, I saw those, West End, I saw those jackets y'all wanted to put us in. Those yellow jackets, now, you know that was criminal. You couldn't put us in that. That was wrong. That was wrong. I once again, Madam Speaker, wish you and all members of Parliament a happy independence. Prime Minister of Abaco and Deputy Prime Minister, happy independence.
Chair recognizes the honourable member for